What's up? Welcome back to Race 164 and our exclusive coverage of the second annual ORC, aka the ORC. My name's Dan, and yeah, this is the show where we race toy cars in the backyard and pretend like it's a big deal, off-road style. Roar! I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what to do about all these ties. We finished round 2 of qualifying, and there's just ties. Everywhere you look, people have identical scores all over the score sheet. When it hit me, qualifying round number 3, dude. It's so simple. Like, the answer has been just staring me right in the face. So that's what we're gonna do today. It's surprise qualifying round number 3. We're gonna focus every matchup on people that are tied, and yeah, just go from there. We'll add this run to your first 2 runs. I'm gonna try and get everybody done here today in one video. I know we're gonna end up with a few ties still, but I'm hoping, you know, this way it makes it way smoother to seed the competitors for the actual tournament, which we will eventually, I hope, get to. Also, we're still waiting on our baby. He is a full week late now, and he probably seems even later to all of you because I filmed these a little quicker than I released them. So to you guys, it's been like a couple weeks probably, whereas this is actually just a few days after I filmed the end of round 2. So it hasn't been quite as long as it would seem to you guys, but it has been a long time, you know, like we're just waiting. Like this little guy, man, he's always late. So far, you know the drill. The ORC track is divided into zones worth different numbers of points. If you make it past the last line into the end zone, you get a bonus point if you don't fall off the end of the track. So if you fly right off the end, you're reduced to a 6. You stop in the end zone, you get a 7. George, I'm filming, dude. Be quiet. Oh, there he is. What's up, brother? All right, I'm not gonna make any effort today in keeping the classes separate at all. We're just gonna work from the top of the spreadsheet down. So heat number 1 is Katie Elliott in the Chevy Blazer, taking on Titan Thunder from Diecast Monster Truck Mayhem in the Ram Rebel. Dude, that Blazer looks like a monster truck next to this thing. All right, heat number 1. We're trying today with no kinetic sand ramp, just to you know, mix things up. All right, here we go. Oh, Katie's pushing Titan into the wall. They are door to door, but not fast. Can any of them break free? No, they can't. They're just gonna stay locked at the hip and fall short of the end zone, both of them. But the Dodge was definitely out front when they crossed the line. So that'll be a 5.1 for Titan Thunder. And Katie's gonna take home just a 5. That's a new one. I have never seen a race like that before. Just trading paint for the entirety of the run, and neither one breaking free. I didn't think they would have the momentum to make it as far as they did, but they made it to the 5, which is pretty solid. I'm gonna save all the totals for the end. Okay, that'll just speed things up for me a little bit. And I can hopefully get through the entire roster here in one video. But yeah, if you can do simple math, Titan Thunder is gonna have like a 19.2. Katie's gonna have a 19.1. All right, our next heat is Tony from Mystic Archives in the Hot Wheels Dune Crusher, taking on Steven Leishman from Steve-O's Reviews in the Hummer EV. All right, here they come, and the Dune Crusher out to an early start. It looks like the Hummer rolled over back there, and once again coming shy of the end zone here, but a solid run and the heat win for Tony from Mystic Archive. That's a big letdown for old Steve-O here, just past the 2 on his roof. Let's go back and see if we can find out what happened. Ooh, it was hard to see. It was way up in the top corner of the screen, but it looks like he hit 2 nails sort of simultaneously. It looks like he caught that one there, and before he had really come down and settled down, hit this one right on the head. And that was enough to just flip him on his lid. 2 points for Steve-O and 5.1 for Tony. And that 5.1, that ties the best of the day. So currently he's at the top of the standings with Titan Thunder. Here in heat number 3 are the last 2 competitors who are currently sitting at perfect scores. It's Alan G from White Rock Diecast Racing in the 57 Jeep FC versus defending champ of the Orc, Charity Elliott in the 2017 Ford Raptor. All right, can anyone stay perfect through all 3 rounds? We're about to find out. The Jeep is out to a quick start. Oh, but he rolls and the champ cannot squeak by. She tried her best, but unfortunately, they're both gonna end up here in the 4-point zone. And Alan crossed the line first. So despite the fact that he crashed, he takes the win in the heat. So that'll be a 4.1 for him. And Charity has to settle for a 4. Looking at that replay, you can see 2 very different strategies on display. Alan G takes that Jeep and he just sends it, all right, flying down the track. The defending champ, on the other hand, takes it a little slower, a little steadier, and it almost paid off. That Jeep hit a bump, and we've seen that thing get airborne before and come back down on all 4 wheels for a finish, but this time he wasn't able to save it. Thankfully for him, he blocked enough of the track that his opponent could not get by. So that means nobody is making it through all 3 rounds with a picture perfect, what would the score be? 21.2. We're not gonna see it. However, could see some people with a 21.1, and they are both in this next heat. It's Aaron Wigney in the Big Air Bel Air versus Brandon Coulter in the Matchbox Rock Shocker. Both of these drivers have scored perfect 7s on their first 2 qualifying rounds. However, they each lost their heat in round 2, so they didn't get that extra 1/10 of a point. I don't know if my plan's even gonna work. We could just end up with a whole bunch of different ties, but here we go. We're trying it anyway. Good race. The Big Air Bel Air with a big wreck, and Brandon Coulter takes the W with a perfect run. 7.1 points here in round 3. Man, this Rock Shocker, dude. This thing is the real deal. Taking a look at that replay, Aaron was out to a nice sizable lead, but then he lost control. Rolled that Big Air Bel Air. Man, those things are pretty good for some spectacular wipeouts. He was actually able to roll across the number 5 line, so that's 5 points for Aaron. Definitely a solid run, and thanks for the excitement rolling over like that. So if I'm not mistaken, with 3 perfect runs and 1 heat win, 21.1 points, Brandon Coulter has driven the beat-up old Matchbox Rock Shocker to the number 1 overall seed in the 2024 Orc. Congratulations, Brandon. You have officially won the qualifying rounds. We will see you in the tournament. All right, our next heat is the driving duo of Jessica and Laura in the Jeep Wrangler taking on Blast Rocket Aviation in the Volvo XC40. Both of these vehicles are sitting at 13.1 points, so somebody could potentially climb up to 2nd place overall here in this heat. All right, here we go. Jeep versus electric Volvo. Oh, little contact right off the bat. Oh my goodness, Jessica and Laura roll over here in the 4-point zone. Something happened to Blast Rocket back here too for a 2. Let's check out that replay. Blast Rocket Aviation there going for early contact, trying to slow down their opponent, and it did not work. The Jeep just took off way out of reach. I had to keep the camera on one of them, so I chose the leader. I don't know exactly what happened to the Volvo, but obviously got into the wall, spun out there for a 2, almost a 3, but not quite. And then big air from the Wrangler and could not come down stable on all 4s. So Jessica and Laura are gonna bring home a 4.1 on their roof, and Blast Rocket Aviation, unfortunately, is coming up just shy of the 3 for a deuce. All right, our next matchup in the white Dodge Ram Rebel, it's Kai Miguel from Kai's World Racing taking on me, yours truly, Dan Elliott, in the RTR Funhaver Ford Bronco. Kai is sitting at 13.1 points after round 2, and I'm right behind him at an even 13. Not that 13 is an even number, but, you know, 13.0 is what I mean. All right, here we go. Bronco out to the lead. Oh, wow, what a save by me. I don't know what happened there. Got it back on all four wheels, but nosed right into the wall, and that's it. So that's going to be a 4.1 for your boy, Dano. And I don't know what happened to Kai. He's back here just for a 2. Conditions must be difficult here today on the Orc. Looking at the replay, it looks like we both got a decent start, but then unfortunately, Kai lost control there just after the 2-point marker and spun out into the wall. And then that Bronco we know is fast, all right? The boys at RTR, they know what they're doing. They can make things go fast. But it's a little too fast for the Orc. And this time I didn't go flying off the end of the track. However, I hit that same nail right there before the number 4. Almost an identical crash to what Jessica and Laura did. But I managed to bounce back on all 4 wheels. All right, so that's 4.1 for me and 2 points for Kai. All right, our next matchup is Mustafa and Yara Rohan in the Hot Wheels Sandburner, taking on Broke Benny from Rough Diamond Racing in the 97 F-150 long box. All right, currently tied at 12.1 points. Let's see who's gonna come out up on top. Quick start for the Sandburner, spins out, and Broke Benny crosses into the end zone for 7 points, just behind the Sandburner. So Mustafa and Yara Rohan take a 7.1 here in round 3, and Broke Benny takes a solid 7. Super interesting replay there because both drivers adopted very different strategies and both paid off. So blazing fast start for Mustafa and Yara in the Sandburner, just flying down the track, but you can see them, they kind of start using control, and I wonder if he steered it into the wall on purpose to scrub off enough speed so that he didn't fly off the end of the track and, risking, damaging the equipment a little bit, but it worked. They crossed into the end zone first, scored a perfect 7.1, whereas Broke Benny took it nice and easy right off the hop. Stayed right beside the wall, kept his speed down low, and just looked like he was out there for a Sunday drive. Scoring himself a perfect run. Unfortunately not winning the heat, but hey, a perfect run is a pretty rare thing today, it would seem. Oh, we're gonna have a bunch of ties again. I can just see it now. My idea is not gonna work. I thought the drivers at the top would keep getting, 6s and 7s, but no, they're getting 4s and 2s, 3s. So I can just see it happening already. We're gonna have a roster full of ties, and I'm gonna be right back where I started at the beginning of the video. But who cares? We get to do more racing, right? Next heat, it's LT from 423 Diecast Racing in the Dodge D100, taking on Josh Jensen in the Tesla Cybertruck. All right, retro race truck versus modern electric truck. Oh, and the Dodge has the lead, but it's close. Oh, wow. That was a good race, guys. LT takes the win. They both stopped in the end zone, so that's 7.1 for LT and 7 for Josh. That was a really good race. Fun to watch. Just when you thought one driver had the win for sure, something happened, and it looked like the other guy had a chance. But solid victory for LT. And look, a solid run in spite of the loss for Josh Jensen. All right, our next heat also tied at 12.1. It's Gregor Bregacek-Chekowitz. No idea if I'm saying that right. Greg B in the Lucas Oil Big Air Bel Air, taking on Dale Whitmill in the Borla Exhaust Silverado. All right, here we go. Chevy versus Chevy. Oh, Gregor spinning out right away. Look at the speed this thing has in reverse. He's going right off the end. And Dale Whitmill is going to steal the heat win with a perfect 7.1, stopping here in the end zone. Let's go to that replay. All right, so Greg spun out straight out of the gate. All right, and then Dale had his eyes on the Bel Air and steered to the other lane to avoid a big collision right off the hop. But, dude, I don't know what kind of reverse gear he's got in that Big Air Bel Air, but it's not slow. All right, he jammed that thing in reverse and then just took off, leaving Dale in the dust. But maybe, the compromised vision, having to look over your shoulder while you're racing, just threw him off, and he wasn't able to stop in the end zone. So that's 7 points for Greg. Meanwhile, the veteran Diesel Dale just rolled to a nice easy 7.1 and stole the win. All right, our next race is Daniel Zylstra in the Hot Wheels Dodge D100 taking on Gerald Lang and Daisy the Cat in the Land Rover Series 3 pickup. Totally pronounced his last name wrong last time. Sorry, Gerald. It's just Lang with an E at the end. It's not Lange. That's my bad. Appreciate your patience, brother. All right, here we go. Gerald and Daisy versus Daniel. Oh, look at this. What a race. Oh, and the Land Rover pushes the Dodge race truck into the wall and just snuffs him out. Not able to make it into the end zone, unfortunately. So that's going to be 5.1 for Gerald and Daisy. And Mr. Zylstra, I'm afraid, is going to have to settle for just a 3. That had the makings of a great race, all right? Door to door there across checkpoints 1, 2, and 3. And then I don't know if Gerald deliberately drove his opponent into the wall, or maybe if Daisy the Cat over on the passenger side had a little influence there. Maybe she reached over and grabbed the steering wheel. Maybe she crashed Daniel into the wall. Or maybe, you know, she just got all up in Gerald's grill and, you know, I don't know. What am I doing? But anyways, Gerald and Daisy get a 5.1 and Daniel gets a 3. All right, our next matchup is Trevor Adkins in the Dodge Power Wagon versus Ian LeMunyon in the 57 Jeep FC. Another name I read wrong last time. Ian. I-A-I-N. Slightly different spelling for Ian, but I read it as a lowercase L-A-I-N, which would be Lane, which... Like, seriously, I went trying to read a name like Chekowitz, and then I messed up Ian. All right, here we go. We got an old Dodge against an even older Jeep. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Looking quick. Oh, rolling over. Just shy of a perfect run, Ian LeMunyon, and the Power Wagon is on his roof back here, too. 4 points for Trevor. Whew, I need to see that replay. All right, so unfortunately, I have no idea what happened to Trevor. He was off the screen very early in the run because Ian was just so fast in that old Jeep. But those things are a little unstable when they get in the air because they got that big cab right on the nose. You know, it's a cab over Jeep truck from the 50s. Not exactly designed for high speeds, but here we are, you know, just sending it. So he wound up on his roof for an upside down 5.1 points, taking the heat win though. And Trevor gets an upside down 4, which is worth just as much as a normal 4. It's just upside down. Racetrack conditions are a really weird thing here on the Orc, apparently. Okay, because last time, the racing surface was a little bit damp, and we had a lot of perfect runs, which made me think, you know, it made the cars a bit slower. We only had one driver, me, fly right off the end of the track, and so it made me think, you know, that was good for perfect runs. Now, today, things are a lot more dry, so I would have thought we'd see more guys flying off the end, and the only reason I can think that we're not is that everybody is learning how to handle their ride here on the track and just driving better. That makes perfect sense, right? All right, next up, it's a couple of fan favorites. It's the Texas Toot versus the Matchbox Ridge Raider. This is Lily the Dog in the Ridge Raider against Mohammed bin Salam in the Mazda AutoZam, aka the Texas Toot. All right, here we go. Unlimited class matchup here in round 3. Look at this race. Here they come. Oh, it's a close one. Lily the Dog hangs on for the win and perfect run here, 7.1. Mohammed bin Salam also scores a perfect 7, but did not win the heat, so it's just 7, not 7.1. Let's look at that replay. That was a nice looking race. Looking like a couple professionals out there, Mohammed and Lily. Look at that Ridge Raider. It hits some bumps and it just recovers perfectly. Now, let me tell you something about Lily the Dog, okay? She's no stranger to diecast racing. If you've been around watching some other diecast channels on the tube, chances are you'll run into Lily the Dog, all right? So she could be, well, she is, for sure, in this competition, one of the most experienced racers that we've got competing. So do not underestimate her based on her size and you know, species. All right, next up, tied at 10.1 after 2 rounds, it's Graham Slater in the Ford Raptor taking on Father's Day Showdown champ Justin Roberts in the custom off-road Charger. All right, here we go. Ford versus Dodge. Quick start for the Raptor. Wow. Graham is taking a perfect run and the win. Justin with a much more relaxed pace here. He's going to bring home a 5. It's kind of a weird race. Looking at that replay, Graham has got something figured out in that Raptor. All right, he was moving. He left Justin in the dust. You can't have a much better run than that, really. You know, a fast run like that, but stopping in the end zone and not falling off. And then he came to a stop. Justin was just crossing the 4-point line. Like, I don't think I've ever had a race where one car is finished and I have time to like walk back over and the other car is still moving. Usually they're stopped or crashed or like have caught up to the end zone and stopped. So that was really weird. I have a feeling that Mr. Roberts was, you know, trying something a little new. This is a surprise qualifying round. He's the Father's Day Showdown champ. He's probably trying a new strategy, realizing he's sort of playing with house money. Maybe he just doesn't care about the seating. So he took this opportunity to try something new and take it really, really, really slow at the start. And it didn't work too badly. I mean, 5 points is a solid run. I really thought he was gonna cross the goal line into the end zone, but it didn't happen. So the strategy needs a little tweaking there, J-Rob, but looking pretty good anyway. Whoo, let's go. We got lots of racing left to do. Next up, it's Bobby Carpenter in the Porsche 911 Rally taking on Jonathan Henson in the custom Ford Bronco. All right, this is quite the funny looking matchup. Let's see what happens. The Porsche gets out to the early lead, handles that bump nicely, but unfortunately he cannot cross the finish line. He'll settle for a 5.1, and I don't know what happened to Jonathan back here, but the Bronco is perpendicular on the race course. So quick start for Bobby in the Porsche, and then I don't know, it mostly happened off screen there. Jonathan lost control after the 2-point line and spun into the wall, unfortunately. Then Bobby hit a big bump and managed to keep it on all 4 wheels, but maybe he broke something there in the front end after hitting a bump that hard at that high speed. And that could be why he put it into the wall and came to a stop before the finish line. But that's a 5.1 for Bobby nonetheless, and Jonathan has got a 2. All right, next up, it's just your classic Chevy versus Ford matchup. Gia Shankar in the F-150 versus James Collins in the Trail Boss. All right, who you got, Ford or Chevy? Here we go. Look at this, door to door. Oh, and then the Ford pushes the Chevy into the wall. The Ford done pushed the Chevy right into the wall. Wow, okay, where was I? So that's gonna be 3 points for each driver. I'm pretty sure Gia was ahead. We're gonna have to look at the replay here. So that'll be 3.1 for her and just 3 for James. Pretty good race there, though it only lasted for half of the track. Gia definitely crosses that 3-point line first, so she'll take the heat win, 3.1 points and 3 for James. All right, next up, both sitting at 10 points, it's Summers Raceway versus Angry Bacon Racing. This little piggy in the Baja Bug, Summers Raceway in the Toyota Hilux. I don't know for sure if it's a Hilux. I think it is. These just barely fit in the start gate. Here we go. Angry Bacon Racing takes the lead, cruising to a 7.1 heat win. Summers Raceway following behind here for 5 points. Angry Bacon. that's different than Angry Bacon. Angry Baking is like, I don't know, butter, flour, eggs, starting to lose it. I've been filming for a while here. Solid run from both drivers there, looking at the replay, and well, more than solid, I guess, for Angry Bacon Racing. Making it look easy for a 7.1, and then a solid 5 from Summers Raceway. All right, next up, it's Andrew Nicholson in the 2020 Ford Bronco with fake mud built into the paint job, taking on Jesse Moxham in the 1970 Dodge Power Wagon with real mud from last year's Orc. Yeah, last year the setup was a little different, and if you fell off the end of the track, you landed in mud. So it was more of an incentive to not fall off the track because maybe the mud would, you know, make you not roll so good in the next round. It was just sort of a problem that I turned into a race element. All right, who you got? Fake mud or real mud? Let's go. Door to door. Oh, the Bronco rolls in spectacular fashion. Jesse spins out immediately thereafter. He's going to get a 4.1, and Andrew Nicholson taking an upside down 3. Let's take a look at that replay. That was a really good race up to the 3-point line. The Bronco hit a big bump, kind of drove up that wall right up against the side of the shed, wound up on its roof, and then I don't know if Jesse just got distracted by what was happening beside him. He's racing, and he looks over, and he's like, whoa, and he just steers. He goes to look over his shoulder to watch the Bronco flip over, and just steers right into the wall. Didn't flip over, but that 4.1 definitely could have been more, Jesse. Taking the W nonetheless. So 4.1 for Jesse and 3 for Andrew. All right, next we got a pro class matchup. It's Dad Joke Dave in the Jeep J10 race truck taking on Matt from Track Work Orange in the Bronco R. These drivers are currently separated by 1/10 of a point. Dad Joke Dave being the one ahead. Both had disappointing runs in the opening qualifying round, but then did pretty good in round 2. So let's see what they can do here in round 3. All right, here we go. Jeep versus Ford. And Dad Joke Dave out to a big lead, but he's flying off the end while Matt puts on the brakes, stops in the end zone for a perfect run. I'm gonna fish Dad Joke Dave out of the weeds here, and we'll watch that replay. I don't actually have a whole lot to say about this replay. It was just a nice run from both drivers. Both were able to continue building, continue improving on their scores here after that disappointing round number 1. A little too fast paced there for DJD Racing, flying off the end for 6 points. But that Bronco R looking like it's in tip-top shape with a perfect run here for 7.1 points. All right, next up, it's Troy Coulter in the Hot Wheels Twinning and Winning, taking on Jared Ayton in the Jeep Wagoneer. All right, here we go. Weekender versus Unlimited. And the Twinning and Winning is out to the lead, but he can't come to a stop while Mr. Ayton pulls in for a perfect 7.1, stealing the victory. Let's watch that replay. Still a good run, Troy. 6 points is nothing to sneeze at, but I don't know where you are. There you are. Once again, we see that high-speed strategy paying off a little bit. You know, you make it to the end. Problem is you can't stop in the end zone sometimes. So that's the risk you run when you just send it like that. But Troy, that was a good run, dude. Meanwhile, a big improvement there for Jared Ayton, taking that Wagoneer to a perfect 7.1 points. Nice and steady. Look, that's why it's called the Off-Road Challenge, not the Off-Road Race. Also because I really wanted to call it the ORC. And if it was an off-road race, it'd just be the OR. All right, next up we got Jay Bow for Dog Squab racing in the 2020 Ford Bronco, taking on Mally Butcher in the 2010 Toyota Tundra. That Tundra is just huge. Let's see what happens. Oh, the Tundra's on its roof, and the Bronco is too. Man, what a race. Let's go to that replay. It was shaping up to be a pretty good race, and then all of a sudden the Tundra was just upside down. Like, within one vehicle length of itself, it just flipped completely upside down. That was the weirdest thing. It's jacked up so high, you'd think it could handle some bumps, but I guess not. And then that blue Bronco did what that blue Bronco does, and it just catches air. And it looks so sick while it does it. But unfortunately, Jay Bow cannot land it on all 4 wheels. And he's going to take the heat win, so that's a 4.1 for Dog Squab Racing. And Mally Butcher has to settle for a 2 here in round number 3. All right, let's keep going. Up next, Cameron Slater in the 79 Chevy K5 Blazer taking on Finnegan James for Lily Rain Racing in the red Ram 1500. Cameron, I hope you have the Blazer warmed up this time, brother. You've had fair warning, okay? It feels like we've been racing forever today, so if this thing isn't ready to go, it's on you this time. All right, who you got? Retro Chevy or modern Dodge? Here we go. Oh, the K5 out to the lead. Big air, stopping in the end zone. Perfect run for both drivers. But Cameron crossed the line first, and he's going to take home a 7.1 and a 7 here for Finnegan James. Well, I guess he had it ready to go. The Blazers looking good today, Cameron. Taking the Heat win, 7.1 points. And look at that, 2 drivers sorted down near the bottom of the standings, having perfect runs here in round 3. Nice save there from Finnegan right out of the start gate. Looked like he might lose control, but he kept it together. And, you know, he lost some speed that he could never really gain back to catch Cameron, who had a nice, clean run. Looking steady, caught some sweet air off that nail at the 5-point line. Just stood it right up, right in front of the heat wave billboard, dude. I can't ask for a much cooler freeze frame. So Cameron Slater takes the Heat win. Definitely encouraging there for his race team here in round 3. That's, I believe, his best round of the qualifying races. And if we'd been racing for distance, Finnegan James would have taken that win. But the tiebreaker is not about distance. The tiebreaker is about whoever crosses the line first. So that's 7.1 for Cameron and 7 for Finnegan. Whew, okay, just 3 more races to go. Next up, we got E67 Diecast Racing taking on in the Baja Bandit, taking on Guillaume Williams in the Chevy Silverado. All right, who you got? The dune buggy or the pickup truck? Wow, tangling right off the gap. Oh! Guillaume drives right around the Bandit, and then he puts it in the wall for what is going to be a 3.1 in the Silverado. I don't know what happened to Team E67, but they ran out of steam right here for only 2 points. So I don't know what happened there. Both drivers went straight at each other coming out of the start gate. Both of them went for the middle of the track, and thankfully they missed each other, or not thankfully, because, you know, crashes are cool. And then, yeah. They both separately lost control. Could have been mechanical problems for the Bandit there, because didn't look like much of a crash for Team E67. But Guillaume definitely lost control, put it in the wall. 3.1 points for Guillaume and 2 for E67. All right, our second to last matchup of the day. It's Darren Lindquist in the twin-turbo Nissan Patrol taking on Calvin Nicholson in the Holly-equipped Toyota Tacoma race truck. Calvin's looking to bounce back after a very disappointing 0 points in round number 2. All right, here we go. Wow, what a race, and oh, he has certainly got it figured out here in round 3. Just barely, but it's a perfect 7.1 for Calvin Nicholson in the Holly Toyota. And Darren Lindquist, I don't think we've seen this before. It's also a perfect run for him. He's going to bring home 7 points just by crossing the plane of the finish line upside down. Let's go to the replay. Don't know if I got it on camera or not. That was an awesome race. It does not get much better than that. Just look at it. Door to door. Darren's in the lead, then Calvin's in the lead, and it's just a great race. Unfortunately, you know, I keep the camera on the leader if I can. So we don't know what happened to Darren. I put him on his roof, but it's still a perfect, you know, you cross the plane, you're in the end zone. So that's 7 points for Darren, and perfect 7.1 for Cal. Looking to bounce back from a 0, a 7 with a win is that's the best you can do. Okay, we made it. Our last matchup of the day. It's Kyle Slater in the Toyota LC80 taking on Lindsey Roberts in the Mercedes-Benz Unimog 1300. Both of these drivers are sitting at a total of 6 points here after 2 rounds. Let's see what they can add here in round 3. All right, last matchup of the day. Come on, you two. Oh no, Kyle. What are you doing? Oh, Lindsay putting it in reverse here, and she's going to roll to a perfect 7.1 in the Unimog. Way to go, Lindsay. Kyle, dude, I'm sorry, brother, but that's a big old goose egg here in round number 3. I don't know what happened to the Land Cruiser, but Kyle just lost control right out of the gate. Super disappointing 0 here in round 3. And then Lindsay lost control partway down the track, but she managed to spin at 180 degrees, jam it in reverse, and then roll to a perfect run, her first perfect run of the tournament, I believe. So that 7.1 is gonna hopefully move her up the standings quite a bit, while Kyle's 0 is gonna leave him right where he's at. at the bottom, the very bottom seed. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Kyle Slater when the tournament starts. All right. I've got everybody's scores in the spreadsheet, but I have not sorted it yet, and I'm super nervous. I'm thinking there's just going to be a whole bunch more ties, and we're going to be right back to where we were at the start of the video. But, okay, here we go. I'm going to sort it. Here we go. All right, so after 3 rounds, top seed, number 1. Oh, my goodness, look at all the ties. Oh, I knew it. All right, so we got Brandon Coulter with a clean 21.1, number 1 overall seed. And then tied at 19.2, we have 5 drivers. Titan Thunder, Tony, Mustafa Nyara, LT, and Dale Whitmell. Goodness. And then we have 4 at 19.1, Katie, Broke Benny, Josh, Jensen, and Greg. All right, then Aaron Wigney is sitting alone at 19. All right, it looks like from here on out there's fewer ties, but there's still quite a few. So, okay, Aaron Wigney has 19. Charity's down 14th there. I'm not going to read through this. I'm just going to scroll so you can see it all. I want to see where I wound up, though. Did I go past my name? Oh, there we go. 20th. Okay, so just above the middle of the pack with a 17.1. Man, you'd think a 17.1 would do better than the middle of the field, but here we are. Who else? Oh, Cameron Slater climbed up a bit, I think, with that perfect run. Where did Lindsay? Okay, so Lindsay was at the bottom, like the very bottom, and now she's up in, you know, that's not actually 42nd. That would be 41st. Kyle's there is going to be the last seed. So he's hoping for a Cinderella story for sure. But look at that. Just so many ties. Oh, ties, dude. The ties that bind. I thought I could get rid of them with a 3rd qualifying round, and I didn't. I just shifted them around. So we have just as many ties, if not more. They just look different now. Couldn't break those ties that bind. But hey, that brings something to mind. If you have some ties that bind, could be anything. Could be addiction, could be depression. I have a friend who can help you. His name is Jesus. And he has all authority here on earth and in heaven above. And guess what? He loves you. So if you need help breaking some ties that bind you, just ask him. He loves you. But I got to figure out a way to break these ties. And, you know, I'll ask Jesus about it, I guess, for some guidance. It's not really a major issue, you know, but I guess I can ask, right? But I'll figure out a way and sort out the final seeding for the tournament, and then we'll start doing some elimination races. Oh man, I am tired. That was a long video. I don't know how long I've been out here. That's one of the longest sessions I have ever put in. This video could be rather lengthy. I might have to split it into 2. I don't know. I'm hoping I can do it all in one, but we'll have to see. So I'm going to wrap this up right there. Hopefully by the time this comes out, I have a brand new baby. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I. And I will see you next time right here on Race 164.